Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 42 of the Social Liability Podcast, the podcast where we discuss those folks in our lives that violate the social contract we all agree to live by. I am your host, the Raspberries, with my co-host, the Buck Grundle, bringing you new and interesting stories from all over the world. In this case, we have decided to name this episode Felonious Douchebaggery. Not only because it fits a lot of the stories that we're going to tell today, but it's a term that we used to use quite a bit to describe the people in our lives. They were guilty of felonious douchebaggery. Would you care to expand upon the definition of felonious douchebaggery, Buck?
Now, expanding upon the definition, are you talking about the origin of, or just explanations of what is felonious douchebaggery?
I think they go hand in hand with one another.
We were working in a prison, and I was in the work release center, and one of the outmates, which is different than an inmate because an outmate can go to work every day, was one of the councilmen for a city in Pennsylvania called York Springs. And I asked him if he would make like a new law in York Springs called douchebaggery. And we actually sat there and we didn't draft anything down, but we definitely laid down some good, firm, founding work for the douchebag accord. And, it hasn't been scripted in the law, but one of these days it might. But yeah, that was me and Mr. Vincent Gora was his name.
And he was still councilman when he got out of jail, I believe.
There was a bittersweet irony to letting a York Springs councilman out to work every day from jail.
Yeah. And it just tells you the character of York Springs in general.
Could be.
Oh, my Lord. But yeah, we started talking about people saying they were guilty of felonious douchebaggery, and it just became a thing. A lot of the stories today are quite felonious and a lot of douchebaggery. So let's jump right into it. And Oklahoma's News 4, this is an NBC affiliate. League City, Texas. I love this. It's an Oklahoma news site, but first, League City, Texas. Okay. Whatever. League City, Texas. Police in Texas are looking for a man accused of stabbing a fast food restaurant manager 3 times after being asked to wear a face mask. I'm kind of getting the shits of these face mask stories, Buck. I mean, wear the damn mask, folks. I mean, that's all there is to it. Wear the damn mask. Or don't shop there. We've covered this ad nauseum. If you don't want to wear the damn mask and they tell you to wear the mask, shop somewhere else.
And I don't mean to beat a dead horse about it, but caregiver Katie and I were actually out at the optometrist today to get her and I some new glasses. And while we were there, an angry gentleman, tore off his mask in the salon, was waving it around in his hand and said, "Hope you guys don't get that COVID," and storms out of there without wearing his mask and just acted like a big baby. I really, the point of me even going through that is to really magnify the fact that you don't look like you're rebelling against shit when you act like that. You look like a child. If I had to use my discretion on how to deal with somebody that were acting that way, I would put them in a corner. If it were up to me, I'd be and I'm thinking corner, maybe timeout. That's like a level 3 tantrum there.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because a lot of the people that are rebelling, quote unquote, against mask ordinances, or in this case in Texas, where they have abolished all mask ordinances and they're leaving it open to the individual businesses. The people that are doing it are typically politically motivated. So, and I say this as as somebody who identifies mostly as conservative, that these are conservative-leaning folks that are doing this. I don't even know what it is. Douchebaggery. Let's just call it that. And they're saying, "I'm not wearing no mask. You can't make me wear a mask." Blah blah blah. And they're going into these stores, whereas we, as a collective, those of us who are supporters of the Second Amendment, for years have been saying that if they have a sign on the door saying no concealed carry, we don't shop in those stores. So the same point. If you are so anti-mask and you want to make a point, just don't shop in the goddamn store. Send your money somewhere else. And if you end up being in the majority, then the business will suffer and they'll go away and you'll prove your point. But going in there and acting like a goddamn baby, making a horse's ass of yourself, does not do a thing for anybody, including you. I hope you go home and think, oh, I made a difference today. I showed my ass. Yeah, jerk.
All you did was display the fact that the human race still has a long way to go as a collective. Because with people like that running around out there, it's easy to see why there are directions on shampoo bottles.
Indeed there is. Well, back to our story at hand. According to the League City Police Department, officers responded to reports of an aggravated assault at the Jack in the Box around 8:10 p.m. on Wednesday. The man reportedly entered the restaurant without a mask and was told by employees that a mask was required for him to be served, or he could use the drive-thru. So, and see, that's the other thing too, is a lot of these businesses, if you don't want to wear a mask, fine, we have an alternative for you. We're not even going to deny you, an opportunity to engage our business, but you're going to do it under our terms, which, again, same people that would have signs in their shop that says we refuse the right to serve anyone. That's what these businesses are doing. They're exercising that right, and you're making an ass of yourself because it doesn't fit what you want.
Right.
The suspect belligerently refused and said that he did not want to. Said that the restaurant did not want to serve him because he was homeless, and began yelling that he would contact his attorney as he was filming with his cell phone. So I'm homeless, and I'm going to call my attorney that I have on retainer, and let me film this with my cell phone. Okay. Police say... Go ahead.
I was going to say, one of this man's, lies is about ready to get the rug pulled right out from... Either you're not really homeless, or you're just an idiot who has no attorney. I would bet on the latter.
What the heck?
Sorry, that was a timer. No, it's for purposes of payroll, I have to make sure that I clock caregiver Katie in and out. Well, that's caregiver Katie's clock out time.
Understood.
But either way, no, I mean, this guy's obviously not homeless. Excuse me, he is obviously a homeless twit who is running around with no attorney, is what I meant to say. Come on, dude. If that's the hill you're gonna die on.
I love it when people I'll call my attorney, and then people go, oh shit, I better do what he wants.
Yeah, I think somebody's seen too many episodes of Better Call Saul. If I were to call it how I see it, that would be it right there.
Well, police say the man walked towards the door as if to leave. The shift manager turned away from the man, who then tackled and stabbed him several times before fleeing the scene. Other employees came to the manager's aid. The injured shift manager was transported to a nearby hospital and treated for 3 stab wounds. He has since been released. Officers searched the area for the man, who remains at large. A warrant for his arrest has been issued. Texas Governor Greg Abbott lifted the state's mask mandate about 2 weeks ago, and the state also did away with limits on the number of diners that businesses can serve indoors. Ratliff reminded residents to respect coronavirus policies that may have been put in place by local businesses. No shit. If you have such a problem with it, just shop somewhere else. That's what I'm going to say.
That really is what it boils down to, though, man. I mean, that really is what it boils down to. People want to sit here and preach about their rights and their liberties and blah blah blah. Guess what? They're not the only person who has them.
You're right,
and we've said it before. Your rights stop where mine begin. Our good friend Sadar said that, and I believe that quote is a very relevant and valid one.
Indeed, it is. I mean, you may think that it's irrelevant. That it's a fake thing. Well, I don't. I think it's very real. I've had family members that have had it. I've had coworkers that have had it. I've had people in my circle that have died from it, and I know how very real this issue is. I am vaccinated. I know people that I have people that work for me that will not get vaccinated. You want to talk about stupidity? We rerun a pod to get people vaccinated. The other day on Tuesday, we had 4,000 doses of this vaccine. 4,000 buck. Less than 500 people showed up, and a lot of those people showed up. They came up to the door and said, "Well, which one do you have?" And we told them we had Moderna, and they said, "Well, I'll come back when you have the Johnson and Johnson because I don't want to have to come back a second time." And left. Now, let's examine the fucking logic in that. I'm already standing there. There is literally no line because they were prepared to be inundated with 4,000 people. There is no line. You can walk in, you fill out the little card that is only about the size of your cell phone, you get your shot, and you wait 15 minutes and you leave. Done. End of story. You might be there 25 minutes in total with parking. But you're going to leave and come back a second time to get the single injection from Johnson & Johnson, which isn't as effective as the Moderna, because you don't want to come back a second time. Now, I'll let you ponder that for a moment and see if you can find the hole in their logic.
You know, and in the meantime, here in the wonderful state of Virginia, caregiver Katie and I, who are members of a preferred class, me being disabled and her being my caregiver, are still waiting with bated breath on a list somewhere to get this shot.
Yeah, if you want to come visit, I'll get you this. I'll get it for you, dude. You don't even have to show ID. You don't have to be from the state. We got people coming from Texas up here to get the shot.
Right. I mean, like, that is what it is. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But either way, you know, people need to grow up. They need to start realizing that, you know, this is not about them. It's about everyone. You know, what's good for you is good for you inside your own damn house, where you truly are king of your castle. But other than that, at the supermarket, you know, at the gym, at the park, that's community rules, man.
Yeah. Now, don't misinterpret what I'm saying. If you don't want the vaccine and you don't want to get it, fine, whatever. But be prepared to have certain, you know, restrictions that you're going to have to take in order to interact with those that, you know, don't want to get this freaking horrible disease. I mean, I've already said it. I've known people that have died from this. I know people that are permanently altered, their lives have been completely altered for the rest of their life because of this stupid virus. That
both my children have had it.
Mine have not, but I've also been extremely careful with that. But also,
you know, one of them got extremely super duper like like, what are we gonna do? Like, call your dad, you know, tell him you're super sick and, you know, whatever. And the other one was just like,
that was a thing.
Like,
yeah,
right. And it was really weird. But either way, man, enough about that COVID, about this COVID stuff. Everybody's inundated with it. And
yeah.
I'll bet you that the next article's got something to do with it too, and I'm going to have to end up taking my foot out of my mouth. But let's just move along either way.
It does not. It has to do with more felonious douchebaggery, and this is being reported. This is being reported by ABC News. Cheerleader's mom created deepfake videos to allegedly harass her daughter's rivals. We're back to this nonsense. A Pennsylvania mother allegedly sent deepfake photos and videos of her teenage daughter's cheerleading rivals, depicting them naked, drinking, and smoking to their coaches in a bid to get them kicked off the team. Okay. Cheerleading is not a team. It's a squad, first and foremost. Next. Are you familiar with what deepfakes are?
No. I have an imagination that's going wild right now, like what they could be. Pornographic in some nature, I'd gather, but...
Well, deepfakes are... You can actually get programs for these fairly cheap, actually, where you can you can superimpose a face onto another body in a video, and it can look super realistic. There's an app on Facebook. You may see a lot of people doing it where they transpose their own face on an actor, and it shows a bunch of scenes from that movies that actor was in. Those are a really fundamental version of it. You can get higher end programs that do it really goddamn well, and that it's gotten to the point where people are actually like really scared in government that we could be making videos and faking and stuff like that. And it's kind of along the same lines as what they did with the Star Wars movies to get Carrie Fisher in there for one last scene after she died. It's just the technology's come so much now that you can get it on a home PC. So, Raffaella Spoon, 50, allegedly sent the manipulated photos and videos to at least 3 of her daughter's teammates and their coaches on their cheerleading team, the Victory Vipers. That's out of Bucks County District Attorney Matt Weintraub's office. Yeah, let's go with that. Spoon also anonymously. Say it with me, Buck. Anonymously. There we go. Sent messages to the victims urging them to kill themselves, according to the papers reported to the district attorneys. Oh, my Lord. The Hilton Township Police Department confirmed the report to ABC News. The Bucks County District Attorney did not immediately respond to ABC's news for request for comment. Spoon was arrested on March 4th and is charged with 3 counts of cyber harassment of a child, 3 counts of harassment, and according to the Hill Township Police Department, an attorney for Spoon could not be immediately identified. There's no indication that the high school age girls knew that what their mother was doing, and the report said that this is just really poorly written and hard to read. One of the victims' parents contacted Hilltown Township Police in July, saying the girls received harassing text messages from an anonymous number, per the Philadelphia Inquirer's reporting. The girl and her coach were sent photos that appeared to depict her naked, drinking, and smoking a vape pen, according to the police. Her parents told police that they feared the videos could lead to her daughter being kicked off the team. 2 more families came forward saying their daughters received similar messages, according to the Inquirer. Those victims were sent photos of themselves in bikinis, according to the report. Police determined the videos were deepfakes, digitally altered images that appeared to be authentic. The images were created by mapping the girls' social media photos onto other images. In the investigation, police traced the phone number to that the girls received harassing messages from, which led them to a website that sells numbers to telemarketers. Damn, this woman went all out! They followed the data to the IP address, which showed activity within Spoon's home. Detectives searched Spoon's smartphone and found evidence linking her to the numbers used to send the harassing texts and images. Victory Vipers told the ABC News that they are cooperating with the police investigation and have a, quote, very strict anti-bullying policy, and all the athletes involved are no longer a part of our program. They're not athletes. Victory Vipers also promoted a family environment, and we are sorry that all individuals involved. We have very well-established policies and strict anti-bullying policies in our program. Coaches Mark Tange, I don't know, and Kelly Kramer said, when the incident came to our attention last year, we immediately initiated our own internal investigation. There's 2 of you. What the fuck kind of internal investigation are you going to do? And took the appropriate action at the time. The incident happened outside of our gym, so we're not responsible. I mean, goddamn. And Mom's like, you're going to be head cheerleader or else.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean,
first off, the first thing that actually popped into my head while you were reading that was just me remembering being in like high school and shit and reading like novels where they're like cybersecurity teams, and me thinking to myself like back then, I'm like, yeah, bullshit. Cybersecurity my fucking ass. Like that'll never happen. I remember thinking that, and here we're reading about some regular ass Jane dipshit getting busted by exactly what I really thought would never happen, and that was just a nice little nostalgic, blast from the past. But why the fuck is somebody's parents get involved, man? Like, what the shit is that?
It's one of those people that are living vicariously through their children because they're failures in their own life, and they have to make sure their children succeed at everything they do. Because you can be anything you want to be, and you can reach for the stars.
I would have to say more along the lines of that you're right. They're living vicariously through their children, but instead of being like the kind of nurturing whatever in their own mind, they're like, fuck it, I've already screwed up my own life that bad. I might as well just really gamble and see if this makes somebody else's life better. You know, kind of like falling upon their own sword for their kid. They're like, can't be a great example. Might as well be a terrible warning.
Well, the funny thing is that this could actually have very, very, very real repercussions because
Oh my, yes.
in the article she said she sent nudes, which means these are high school kids, which means they probably aren't 18 yet. So
Ooh, no.
So that means she was manufacturing child pornography.
Uh-huh. Which in this case, for what she was using it for, is not the victimless type of child
No.
pornography either. Like you're actually loading your weapon with child pornography. Like that is bad.
Yes, it is. You going away, Mom? Bye.
Like she's gonna need an attorney that could get Ray Charles a driver's license.
Yeah.
Like shit.
You know, I just heard, I listened to a story last night. Somebody from actually back in Pennsylvania that was telling me about how this guy got arrested, went to jail, and he was like real. No one would say why he was in jail. He was real sketchy about it. But one of the first things he said when he was on the phone with somebody was he was on the same block as Bill Cosby. It's like, well, we know what you did now.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
You managed to keep your charges secret, but we know you're on Cosby's block, so yeah.
I'll tell you what, you only think you kept it secret, because I'll tell you who knows is every freaking person that you're about to live with in that prison. That's who freaking knows.
Peds and meds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our next story is reported by ABC 7 News. This is funny. No screaming on California roller coasters, state guidelines say. Want to give this one a shot?
Just first off, I want to say, what in the ever-loving fuck? Like, I hate roller coasters. There's nothing about that experience that looks fun to me. But now you're telling me that I can't even scream? Like, man. Like, what are they doing? Like, measuring people's dicks before they get on the fucking ride? Like, you're not allowed to scream on this, so you got to have at least, an 8-inch cock.
Well, theme parks in California are planning to reopen as early as next month, but thrill seekers may be forced to control their excitement while riding the roller coasters. The state's Attractions and Parks Association is recommending that park officials encourage riders to, quote, mitigate the effects of shouting on roller coasters and thrill rides to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Under the association's responsible reopening plan that was released in September, park officials can do so by requiring face masks and modifying the seating on rides. Reopening guidelines call for businesses to limit activities such as singing and shouting, which are known to increase the spread of the virus. Earlier this month, state officials announced that theme parks, sports games, and other outdoor events could resume limited-capacity events beginning April 1st, providing that the county the park resides in has reached the red tier in the state's reopening criteria. After a year-long closure due to the coronavirus pandemic, Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park will reopen with limited capacity on April 30th. Six Flags Magic Mountain announced on Thursday they plan to reopen their theme park to members and pass holders as quickly as possible, with limited capacity on April 1st and 2nd, and the general public on April 3rd. For what that's worth.
I can't even imagine being on a roller coaster without screaming a little bit.
Wee.
Yeah, there's no wee.
That's what I do.
It's more like what? Yeah, that's what you do.
I do. I go on the hill going, wee.
No, man. Nope. I got no interest in that son of a bitch. But the thing is it like, half the fun of being on a roller coaster is screaming your head off. That's what everybody tells me.
You know,
Like, you go on there and you scream your freaking head off. You see him on commercials and movies. Every time you see him, even on like stupid family sitcoms, you see a roller coaster, it's synonymous with screaming like an idiot because you're going, you know, freaking faster than you should and upside down and in a twirly twoo. Like, what the? Yeah, and then like now you're not allowed to scream.
I was counting on taking you to Orlando with me so I'd skip the lines at Universal.
Yeah, then not if I got to get on that thing.
Well, kind of useless to me now. Shit.
Nah. We'll just have to talk to a really good dealer and get us some Valium.
Right on. Okay, so let's go on down to Kiro 7, which is local, live, and in-depth. Okay. Florida man nicknamed Baby Cakes caught naked in a chair outside an apartment complex. Fort Myers, Florida. A Florida man is accused of sitting naked in a chair outside an apartment complex, authorities say. Irving Edward Howard, 71, of Fort Myers, also known as Baby Cakes, was arrested by Fort Myers Police Department on Thursday. He was charged with 4 counts of lewd and lascivious acts towards a child 16 or younger, 1 count of indecent exposure, and 1 count of disorderly intoxication, according to the Lee County online booking records. Jeez. According to the police, Howard was sitting nude in a chair while children were in the area. This is not the first time Howard has been arrested, however, because in 2019, investigations by WBBH taxpayers has spent $300,000 for Howard to spend more than 6,000 nights in jail. So, yeah! In April 2019, Howard was arrested for showing up naked in an area hospital, the television station reported. From April 2019 through August 2019, Howard spent 134 nights in jail. Oh, geez. Excuse me. According to Lee County booking records, Howard was arrested 12 times since August 2019, including 2 times for indecent exposure and 3 times for trespassing. Howard's arrests in Lee County stretch back to 1988, according to booking records. Howard remains in Lee County Jail, according to booking records, and he is scheduled to appear in court on April 12th. So, old Baby Cakes gonna go out there and hang out with his cock out.
I'd love to see him and his record compared with like other people that we've known.
Well, we know one individual that
Steve Rich.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Steve Rich.
I wasn't even gonna let you beat around the bush.
Steve Rich.
Yep, he can go right under that bus.
This motherfucker, the moment he would get out, he would figure out a way to get into a town, which was about 2 miles away. He would panhandle enough money to go over to the liquor store and get a bottle of vodka. He would drink said vodka and get picked up for public intoxication and come back to jail.
Right.
And he would do anything to make sure he got in jail at our jail. It wasn't like any jail. He wanted to be at that jail.
He had to be in our jail. He liked the medical staff.
Yeah. Yeah, and it got to the point the prison society actually tricked him one time and dropped his ass in Harrisburg, and he came back.
Yep. Oh. And you knew, and like you knew winter was coming when Steve Rich came to jail.
Yeah.
Like that's when you knew. Like, we better close the storm windows.
Yeah.
Steve Rich just got arrested, sweetie. Like no. we got to batten it down. It's time to weatherize the house.
Yeah, he's going to do a good one so he can stay there for the whole winter. In the summertime, he'll be bouncing in and out constantly. I mean, this guy got so drunk one time, and the cops refused to arrest him just because they didn't want to mess with him.
Right.
And he went back in the woods drunk and got frozen to the ground. Because he lost half a foot with that one.
Oh, man. We had so much fun with that guy.
Oh, he loved you.
I know he did. Because I used to put up with him. He'd be like, oh, yeah. Like, you can come out and talk to me about anything as long as you mop the day room.
Yeah, he'd push that damn mop all around for 8 hours.
Yes, he would. I told him, I'm like, as long as you make it look like you're working and this shit's clean, yeah, go ahead.
Knock yourself out. That dude. Oh, is that dude still alive?
I was actually about to ask you that.
I got to look that one up.
You know what? We should call the prison one day on the air. We should do this during the day.
Do it
call
air?
the prison and be like, yeah, call the prison and be like, hey, you guys got Steve Rich?
Just call intake and ask him. Yeah.
Yeah, just be like, hey, this is Matt Springfield. I'm just wondering if you got my cousin in there. His name is Stephen Rich. We were looking for him.
Haven't seen him in a minute. Haven't seen him in a coon's age.
No. My name is Harold Rexroth.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. There's some things you just don't do.
You're right.
You're right.
Yeah. I'd be Raymond Glacken.
Oh, shit. That's the same family. Well, the next story we have is being reported by Breitbart. And a Florida man caught publicly jerking with gherkin in his behind. Oh, Breitbart. A Tampa Bay man was arrested for allegedly masturbating on private property with an uneaten pickle inserted into his rectum. Yeah, that's the story we're going with now, because we're a high-class show, Buck. We are high class.
Oh, man, this came right off the top shelf.
Oldsmar police in Pinellas? I don't know. We're just going to say somewhere in Florida. Accused Eric Dietage, 47, of laying in the yard of a townhouse while pleasuring himself with one hand and a pickle in the other. According to an arrest complaint originated by the smoking gun. The man faces charges of exposure of sexual organs, a misdemeanor in Florida. Dietrich also is reportedly being held in custody on a $150 bond. Let's bail this dude out and get him on the show. $150, dude. That's worth it. Let's call him up. Let's say, listen, we're going to bail you out, but you got to be on the show.
This comes with some golden handcuffs, my friend.
The suspect reportedly holds a criminal record for resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and theft, and criminal mischief. The arresting officer...
Oh, man. That is a perfect social liability podcast candidate. I second the motion to spend the $150. We're going to have to get into the social liability petty cash fund.
The arresting officer notes that the incident occurred around 4 p.m. local time on Sunday. The criminal complaint notes that Dietrich was not armed with a firearm, and there was no mention of a pickle being taken as evidence. The report also noted the suspect did not appear to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. The arresting officer did not draw a conclusion if there were signs of mental illness. There probably is.
Either that or somebody really lost a bet with a cartel. I don't know, man. If I lost a bet with a cartel, I'd stroke and poke with a pickle in my ass on somebody's front lawn. Keep my butt from getting flayed by the cartel, thrown in with the crabs.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd have one pickle in my butt and the other one coming out of my catheter hole. I'd be like, I'll do whatever you want, man.
Just don't put tires around my neck and burn me.
Yeah.
Woo.
I'll tell you what the best part about that is. Caregiver Katie poked her head around at me saying a pickle in my catheter. She actually poked her head around and was like, what?
Well, she knows what happened last week, so now she's worried.
Oh, man.
Okay, we're going. The Times Now News. Yeah, timesnownews.com. Okay. 41-year-old jobless Oxford graduate sues parents for lifelong financial support. This is our main event, folks. Fayaz, I cannot pronounce this. There is no earthly way in hell. We're just going to call him Fayaz because Siddiqui. Siddiqui? Fayaz Siddiqui. Okay, we'll go with that. A 41-year-old jobless Oxford graduate has sued his parents to make them give him a lifelong financial support. A 41-year-old jobless man has sued his parents to force them to pay for his maintenance of life. Fiaz Siddiqui, a trained lawyer with a degree from Oxford University, said he is completely dependent upon his wealthy parents. Siddiqui's Dubai-based parents have let him live rent-free at their £1 million flat that they own near London's Hyde Park for 20 years. They have also paid his bills. However, they now want to stop supporting him after a family quarrel. Siddiqui is fighting his first of its kind case that can affect the rights of parents in the United Kingdom. The 41-year-old opines that he is entitled to claim maintenance from his parents as a vulnerable grown-up child due to health issues that prevent him from financially supporting himself, and in requiring him to do so would violate his human rights. Siddiqui has done his practice. Siddiqui has done his practice to top law firms. However, he has been jobless since 2011. His mother and father have given him £400 a week since then. The lawyers of his parents have stated that the long-suffering parents have their own view of what is suitable provisions for their difficult, demanding, and pretentious son. The case against his parents claims maintenance was rejected by a top family court judge last year and will now be heard in the Court of Appeals. Siddiqui has also taken legal action against Oxford University in 2018 and sought a £1 million settlement, saying he claimed that they had inadequately teaching him led to his 2-to-1 degree instead of a first. The case was rejected. I would say he probably has a case there because this idiot thinks that this case is going to fly.
I have so many problems with that. I just do. You know, a parent gets you through 0 through 18, and you know
everything past that's gravy.
Yeah, I mean anything that is your free play version of life. Everything after 18 is pay to play. Like you gotta get in there on your own. Like what? That just bothers me. £400 a fucking week. £400 a week. I want to know if I can be adopted by these people. Even
and you're living in a £1 million estate.
Yeah, my existing parents right now would be like, if they'll adopt you, like you'd be a fool not to go.
You'd be a fool, son. You'd be a fool.
Like we can be your uncle and your aunt from now on. Like my parents would be all on board with that. They'd be like £400 a week. You live in Dubai, £1 million. Yes. You can be Mr. Siddiqui from here on forward. I'd be like, yep.
Mama, Opa!
Buck Siddiqui here. I mean, like, it's even got a great ring to it. I'm like, I wonder if these people, who wants it? I'm telling you, crippled son gets you to the airport better. Like, let's do it.
But apparently he won't take you to a theme park.
Don't do that. Not unless you're a big fan of the teacups. Yep. That's about as exciting as it gets here, folks. Unless we put Crisco on the kitchen floor.
He apparently graduated law school, so trying to claim that he's vulnerable. My God. There's
just being able to file that claim busts the whole merit of that entire. Like, you're vulnerable. You can't defend yourself. Well, this is a pretty intricate. It's a pretty intricate little ploy you've got here. You don't seem very vulnerable to me.
Oh my Lord! It's just we talk about man babies at the beginning of the show. I think right here is like the definition of man baby. I mean, come on! I'm gonna sue my parents because they treated me too well. This is like the little shit stick that raped somebody and claimed, or was it rape or murder? I don't remember. I think it was murder, where he claimed he was too rich to know better. Remember that one?
No.
Affluenza. Affluenza. That's what his defense was. He had affluenza.
You know what? Now I vaguely do remember that. For some reason.
Yeah, here it is. I found it. Affluenza is a psychological blah blah blah, supposedly affecting wealthy young people.
Oh.
Yeah, that was it. Before sentencing, Couches. It was Ethan Couch was the kid's name. I'd look that up. Ethan Couch is an American who, at age 16, killed 4 people while driving under the influence on June 15, 2013, in Texas. Couch was driving while intoxicated under the influence of drugs, was driving on a restricted license, and speeding in a residential area when he lost control of his vehicle, colliding with a group of people assisting another driver with a disabled sports utility vehicle. 4 people were killed in the collision, and a total of 9 were injured. 2 passengers of Couch's pickup truck suffered serious injuries, with 1 passenger suffering paralysis. Yeah, I remember this.
Now I think I do, yeah.
And him and his mother fled to Mexico at one point too. Yeah, and their defense was they were too affluent to know better.
Oh.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, Buck, this has been an interesting tale of intrigue and suspense. And I think every one of these cases we've talked about today really kind of fit in the category of felonious douchebaggery.
I would have to agree with you. And I would have to give the biggest douchebag award to that mom.
Oh, the pictures?
Yeah. I mean, that rubs me in all sorts of wrong ways, man. There's all sorts of emotional bad touching going on, all sorts of ways with that. That's just icky to me. Stooping to that level, doesn't matter if it's for your kids or not. I'd do anything for my kids. That whole thing just bothers me.
Yeah. Well, that being said, folks, this has been episode 42 of the Social Liability Podcast. We do ask that you help us out, but not with financials, because we don't need your money. I'd like your money, but we don't need your money. We need you to tell a friend about us and get this podcast out there and help us get this to the point where we become mega superstars and people will let us go to the front of the line at theme parks, because since Buck won't let us use his disability to do that.
Nope, I'll carry the cripple card for you guys on anything but the roller coaster.
Ugh. That being said, folks, you can listen to us on just about any podcasting platform, be it Spotify, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Anchor, Google Podcast, Breaker, Apple Podcast, or CastBox. You can watch us and listen to us on our YouTube channel. If you simply search for the Social Liability Podcast or the Mount Moon Crew, you can find us there. You can find Buck's other show, Better Than Bad, which he records what's supposed to be an inspirational video, oftentimes does not turn out to be, and I edit it just because it makes me laugh. And so you'll see those on there as well. And that's probably one of our more popular series right now because it's just funny. And they're usually about 10 minutes long, so they're easy dosage. You should enjoy those. You can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/the_raspberry01, where I do live streams of my gaming and sometimes just hanging out. And I'm trying to think of anything else, but I really can't. So just make sure you tell a friend about the podcast. And Buck, do you have anything else I'm missing?
Nope. No, I don't. I just hope everybody has a wonderful week.
So do I. That being said, folks, have a week.